Hello and welcome back to the Saw movies. Now we're at the sixth entry in 2009. So as mentioned, Paranormal Activity had come out. The first one I checked was in 2007, and it had rightfully scared the shit out of Lionsgate because it was starting to be the new in thing to do for the horror crowd, while Saw was declining in quality. A bit similar to what happened to James Bond with the rise of The Bourne Identity and Mission Impossible, obviously. And this kind of came to a close a bit with this movie because this came out the obviously as it was custom at the time the year after the previous one, in 2009. Directed this time by Kevin Grötert. First one that he directed. After this, he will do
It was
the seventh and the 10th movie. But before that, he was a major, if I recall correctly, editor of the franchise up until this point. I remember distinctly also a couple of interviews where even Tobin Bell was like, "Oh, it's totally a cool thing because an editor knows more, so it's perfect to be the director." Mind you, I don't think he's really that bad of a director, although apparently, oh god, he also did the title design for the House of the Dead 2 movie. God.
Maybe you want to repeal those words of yours.
I mean, title design's a bit different from making the whole movie.
Obviously. Still written by
Ah.
Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan. But this was the first major Saw movies that saw a steep decline in income. It was still a huge success. With a budget of 11 million, it grossed 69.8 million. Nice. So still a huge success. But it was considerably lower. I think almost half of what Saw 5 did. So this was a sign for Lionsgate to be very worried about considering also what Paranormal Activity, was doing. And we will see how that will entail eventually for the future. But for the time, we're back at Saw 6. So, the status quo had still changed a bit. Hoffman is still winning. The detective that was on his ass got, squashed alive, and the FBI seems to have completely, diverted their investigation out of Hoffman. Hoffman says Jigsaw's wife is still there, Jigsaw is still dead, the doctor, played by Carrie Elwes, is still missing in action, so we'll have to see how things, turn up in this. So, as usual, start at the black screen right before the custom Lionsgate logo in 3, 2, 1, click. As I mentioned, I prefer Saw 5 out of these new era post 3, but this comes to a close. If I recall correctly, you mentioned in your final thoughts, Jay, that you prefer instead Saw 7 or 3D, as it's called.
That's correct. At that point in time, it was very clear that the series has gone far off the deep end, so they just want to have more fun with it than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Detective Hoffman produced the movie? No wonder he's the winner.
So, let's see who we have on the menu today for the initial trap, shall we?
Cockroaches.
A win PT.
Oh, it's this one.
I don't know who this actress is. Lots of butchering
Oh, but,
equipment.
but but there's another guy.
We also saw a bit of a silhouette.
This actress is Tenedra Howard.
Let me see. As Simone. I don't recognize anything that she did. Anything else? Well, always the nicest people Jigsaw takes.
Loan sharks.
So taking a page out of The Merchant of Venice, I guess, Jigsaw wants flesh as payment. Do you actually know about that opera, Dweebs?
Which
The
opera?
Merchant of Venice.
Barely.
What about you, Jay?
No, I've not. I know of the original Merchant of Venice.
So you know what the story is about.
Yes. It's actually one of my favorite Shakespeare stories.
Huh, interesting. I'm a bit of a basic bitch, so I tend to prefer Midsummer's Night Dream.
Also a very fun one. Actually, the most recent adaptation of the Merchant of Venice I'm familiar with is the Mabinogi storyline.
So here's the realization. Poor Simone realizes that she's in a competition with someone who has a bit more of an advantage in terms of what they can give.
So that's just gonna say that's not exactly fair, is it?
Well, it's all about the creativity. What can you do to actually survive?
The most I know about this movie is that when the Super Gaming Brothers did a review of
The game.
the video game, they made a wisecrack at. So yeah, this trap you put us in's a bit low budget. It saw six tag at the box office.
Yeah, again, I don't remember if he scored lower than the first movie, but it was definitely the lowest for a while.
Apparently, it's in terms of its production, it only took them 44 days to shoot the movie.
Again, remember, these were done in record time in order to offer a yearly Halloween release.
And as for how Miss Howard got the role here, she won the first season of a TV show called Scream Queens.
I don't know anything about that one.
Me neither.
In case you're wondering, why it is overly a bit exaggerated, it is actually possible to plow through the pain if the situation is that dire because of adrenaline alone. Just, don't actually try this at home.
I think cleaving my arm off with a hatchet is probably the last thing that's on my
Isn't she
mind.
gonna bleed? She's gonna bleed to death.
No, she's got something to keep the blood from flowing too fast.
Also, if the guys from the previous movie could survive giving all those pints of blood, I'm pretty sure, she can.
I didn't bleed to death.
Well, I'll be. She actually did the better. She actually sacrificed the most and actually won.
Saw
V.
VI.
Oh no, it's a spin-off for Kane.
Oh, Vi. Well, I guess I'll cut her in half.
Oh god, are we in that sequence from Remember Me in the car? Oh,
Okay,
that
apparently
guy
they
looks
weren't-
familiar.
They weren't loan sharks earlier; they were bankers. But yeah,
Barely. Sorry, there's barely a difference in my eyes. So just a reminder of what happened in the end of the previous movie. Also to understand how did Hoffman, still got away from the coffin. Poor Strohm. He was still a bit of a jerk, but at the very least, he did try to be a by-the-book cop.
I mean, all he wanted to do was chase down this one.
Game
Yes.
over.
I will say, the effects on the crunching arm are always impressive. Sometimes it really does feel like the actor sacrifices their own arm to get some of these.
A lot of times, Jay, I'm pretty sure you know, but the trick is that a lot of time they hire actually people who have amputations of their own, so they can play around with the concept.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what
the body
happened
doesn't.
to Strohm.
Honestly, I was expecting it to be a lot more squished.
Well, it's definitely not as rigid as before. Meanwhile, at Umbrella Corporation. So yeah, this is the first of a few, not a lot, but a few, movies where Jigsaw decides to target specifically health insurance companies. I'm sure that's not topical in the slightest. Let's see who this smarmy guy is played by. Peter Outerbridge. Oh god, it was 3 years after this, it was in Silent Hill Revelation. Bad period for his career, I will say that. He's still doing stuff to this very day, more TV than movies. The secretary, Eddie, played by Janelle Hutchison. Oh, she was in Repo the Genetic Opera the year before this. Also, the Hairspray movie, I think, in 2007. Also, Harold, that guy that is getting, shunted, that's George Newbern. That's Sephiroth's VA.
Is this why? Is this how he became Sephiroth?
Of course. I mean, to be fair, Dweebs, when you really get down to it, Final Fantasy VII is the story of how Sephiroth discovered,
Hysterical.
the company that he was working on was screwing over in the ass and actually went against it. So you know. It's kind of like how the 50 Shades movies, out of nowhere in the last one, 50 Shades 3, have a random cameo from Tyler Hoechlin. You know, the new Sephiroth. Yeah, I know it's like beating a dead horse, but I really, really fail to see the. I really fail to understand the mentality behind the healthcare system in America.
How does yours work, Tia? Is it like ours?
It's look, I don't know how much is it waves, but I can tell you it's literally constitutional that health is a public right to every single person. It's literally written ink on paper in the Constitution. I'll give you just an actual practical example.
That's right. This movie revolves around this entire insurance company being
Yeah,
caught,
basically.
which is an incredible feat for
Jigsaw.
now one person.
Well, yeah, admittedly. Then again, Jay, we could be playing around with the timeline and potentially, this potential could still be in the past for all we know. Anyway, here's Hoffman actually, listening back to the initial trap. I'll give a practical example without being too detailed for the sake of not saying names. I have a family member who recently actually broke a leg not went to theater, literally broke a leg. And the state, gave this person a full recovery operation and everything, and is currently going through rehabilitation without spending a single dime. That includes also, getting the free hot meals per day and a bed to sleep, inside a building. I'm pretty sure if it was a case like in America where if we did not had enough money for insurance, that person will still be potentially, burning the ass in the hotness of maybe, our own house or something without proper cure or treatment.
Jay, you're from the US, right?
Yep.
Dare I ask how you're coping with the health system over there?
I don't currently have health insurance. As a matter of fact, I had a couple of years back a low cost health insurance that took care of me for basic necessities for pennies. A year after in, I was charged $1,000 for working with them because tax season.
Wow.
So, needless to say, I no longer have health insurance yet again. I've learned how to live.
Well, that gives
Oh,
also potentially the
it's like a
worrying.
complete nightmare.
Yeah, there's also potentially,
Yeah.
the worrying that if something happens to you, you will still have to pay a lot for it. Again, that's the
Yeah.
thing that boggles my mind. But anyway, on to the movie itself. We got back, there you go, the FBI investigator from the fourth movie. And, she's joining that investigation with this Count David Touris. So yeah, Hoffman thought he actually managed to get rid of her, but that's not the case, meaning that she might be a problem. So yeah, we're talking about the five people of Discount Coronation Street from the previous movie. Okay.
Hmm. Does it? I'm surprised. Do none of these cops ever think, yeah, Detective Hoffman looks a bit shifty.
Come on, put it up. There you go. Yeah, Pamela Jenkins. She's actually a interviewer. Let me see who she's played by. Samantha Lemole. She. Oh, she was in one episode of CSI. Mostly TV stuff in just single episodes. She has stopped working since 2017.
I mean, you're supposed to not be sensationalist in the first place.
Whatever sells a story in the States.
Especially if that story actually involves the wife of Jigsaw. So
It's
there you
you know,
go. That's
tactics
Simone.
like that, like like stuff where journalists will do anything for a story. Phone tapping is what got a major newspaper killed.
It's that kind of line teetering waves about wanting the scoop of your life and, having to research the truth no matter what, and how much that actually goes in conflict and can be, damaging to yourself and the people around you.
No, I had my arm cut off.
You wanker.
A
Someone's
sonogram?
pregnant.
hmm Yeah, this was back when Jigsaw and his wife were expecting a child. Remember, one of the whole major incidents was the accidental miscarriage.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. That's basically what set him down this path.
The thing is that, okay, I know it's because, the years passed by and everything, but even back in the early 2000s, Tobin Bell was still very old. Like, you're telling me that they managed to, bone and conceive a child without any problem. Props for that, I guess. Oh yeah, the box from the previous movie. What was inside? It's the number 6 because it's the sixth movie.
There's a bunch of folders.
Also an extra one. Another number.
7 folders.
Looks like the journalist is on the list too. This was the tape found in the fourth movie.
No, it doesn't. Yeah,
Remember,
don't you remember the one thing he told you before you joined them?
yeah, about Steel. It's clear a character flaw from Hoffman, the fact that he's much more rough, doesn't pay attention to details, while uh, while Jigsaw was quite literally surgical.
Hello.
Say please.
This murderous detective is a bit rude.
She's definitely changed those out.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, despite despite Jigsaw being dead, he still is responsible for pining on that guy. Saw 10 will give a bit more explanation, not an explanation on why Jigsaw wants to do it, because we know already he suffered from cancer, so obviously companies like this would be, not particularly good in his eyes. But, it will set up a precedent.
My God, you just huff your own ass, don't you, Jigsaw?
I'm just glad that they don't
I
use that.
I'm sorry that you lost. I'm sorry that you've lost your son, but like,
And you're suffering from cancer. I'm surprised. I'm actually more glad instead that they're not using that line as meta commentary for people saying, "Oh, you only want to see these movies." This is not Tobin Bell ranting that he wants to be out of the movies, mind you. He actually still quite enjoys that, and again, the fact that he did not use him even as archive footage and just have a single photo in Spiral is so maddening to me.
But we got to focus on Chris Rock.
Hey, Amanda.
one case study is not proof.
Also, as you can imagine, this franchise, outside of Tobin Bell, obviously, this franchise has the same kind of thing of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, where despite not a lot of time passing, because obviously the movies were filmed with a bit of a distance, the actors visibly age, but there's enough suspension of disbelief for you to understand they're still supposed to be in a specific timestamp. This would be very more important in Saw X or Saw 10, where, Amanda is Amanda's actress is much older, but it's still supposed to be an interval between 1 and 2.
Although apparently Kevin Grutter, who directed that film, did say that he could have done the aging, but chose not to.
No, there's still implied slight usage of AI in terms of adjusting some of the recorded lines, but it's mostly speculation. I haven't yet researched enough to, find if it was true or not.
Just looking at some of Tobin Bell's other work, he was first one. He was in a couple of episodes of the original Equalizer show.
Huh.
Probably the only time I've ever heard of an American TV show headlined by a Brit, and it's not Star Trek.
Around this time, he was also a psychiatrist in a movie called, I think, Boogeyman 2, I think, which was bad. It was the best part of it, but it wasn't enough to save it.
So he shot the wrong person.
And the pig mask finished the job. Okay, let's see what the game is about. So yeah, because this game was pre-made by Jigsaw, he still also recorded enough tapes to talk about these people. Good thing everyone survived after all the people involved survived after his death, so I could do this. So, no pressure.
Like that.
So what's with the latches on his sides that look to crush him?
So yeah, first test. Oh, it's the janitor. So, just a passing thought, Jigsaw. What is the janitor supposed to actually, learning for his life or something? Because this test, I just say, is more about a competition. Although it would be hilarious if, protagonist fails and instead it's the janitor that has to continue. And just to mention, because I'm not a smoker, I cannot even be, but because I actually have had lung problems pretty much since I was born, I will spectacularly fail this test.
This doesn't sound like a very exciting trap to watch as a viewer. Hold your breath.
It is one of the more mundane ones. My guy! Even he hasn't taken his second.
Poor guy. Again, I have to ponder. Okay, I get it, Jigsaw. You're testing the first guy, but the janitor technically hasn't really done anything wrong. Okay, unless
Oh!
I
But
will.
he was smoking
I guess
even though
yeah.
he had heart
CEO
problems.
Smoker wasn't appreciate his life enough. I guess.
That's basically what it was. He smoked for even though he has high blood pressure and other respiratory issues, he went and smoked anyway.
Oh, so that's kind of
That's
like
what has
what.
him not appreciate life. Kind of stupidity.
That's Jigsaw for you. Yeah,
Next.
no time to lose. Hit the road, Jack. One down, three to go. Well, it's not particularly looking good for Bam either.
Oh, Toby Mel was in the Flash TV show.
What role was he given?
He was the voice of Doctor Alchemy
Oh, what?
and Savitar.
Yeah, one Flash is villain, so that's what we need to know. So yeah, the mother and son combo are also at risk of being sprayed with acid. Meanwhile,
Just put these two people in a cage.
but yeah, the journalist is still on the
Yeah,
list.
Pamela.
You would think that considering apparently all of these kidnappings are happening in just this one city, which we still don't know where the fuck is this. You would think the police will actually try to, geographically locate, narrow down the places where Jigsaw and his accomplices took people for. I don't remember if it was mentioned in movie 2 or 3, but I don't think so. And you would think it would be a tactic the police would use to narrow down where people will be located. Well, that was productive
I,
conversation. Jesus, how many floors are there?
Oh, the elevator.
is there another lift?
Well then,
No. Oh well, there's the lift.
to hell.
It would be very funny if the stairs were just right there next to her.
All right, so you've survived being crushed.
So what's
It's
next?
the
The
party.
look at that. It's another case where John Kramer met someone. Which, to be fair, explains why Jigsaw will actually pine onto his company. He will actually know. People deserving for cure, well, let's just apply math and see what turns out. I can genuinely believe there is at least one company, health insurance company out there right now, if it hasn't already happened, by the way, that is genuinely considering using AI to calculate the probability of who should be, prioritizing being treated. I can guarantee you that's what's fucking happening.
Yeah, I'd
No
be weirded
comeback
out
for
by him
that.
too.
The casual party conversations every one of us has, Jay, don't you know? Like,
Although in John's case, even if he got the health insurance, it would depend on what he was going to use it for. Because having seen Saw 10,
yeah.
I won't go too far yet.
Also, I say that, Jay, but give me enough alcohol and we'll start rambling about politics no matter where are we.
So what's the next test? Lights.
Take them.
Okay.
Beat them. He's like, nah.
Warning, warning, warning.
Yep.
But I wanted to go on.
I guess if he doesn't, it will be
Detonation time, yeah.
If he doesn't follow the rules.
Wonder how many versions of Be the
Hoffman-
Puppet they created for the movies.
Hoffman, what the fuck?
Oh, this is the emotionally manipulative test. See,
Why barbed wire?
Why not? Because the Twisted Productions logo has it. So, one person has his entire life in front of him, but the other has a family. I mean, killing either of them, it's still a horrible thing to do, but come on, Jigsaw, you're really exploiting the American, psychology here.
Well, there's always a third
I sat
option.
on I sat on the bench in the park wrong.
I mean, there's always a third option. He could just let go of both the chains.
Well, he's holding on to them now, so.
And Jigsaw tells him that, he wants for one of his people to be saved. Although, again, I guess that the reason for not enjoying their life enough would be sitting on the wrong side of a bench, like you said.
Man's just out here living his life.
But since he has no family... There you go. He chooses to save the old lady. Yeah, maybe now...
So what happens to her now?
Yeah, that's the thing.
So what? Is he?
Another review that I watched of the movie, basically asked the same question, Jay. Like, so what? Like, how is she gonna get out of there?
Yeah. Don't just leave me here.
Kramer, no.
I mean, what is he supposed to do? There's no way to get her out of there right now.
She can use the corpse to break the window. I don't know.
Hey, so Jigsaw, what happens if like one of them just so happened to, know some lockpicking? They could just get themselves out.
It's kind of similar to the question that I asked in the previous movie about peeing inside the container. I get the idea it will be the case where Jigsaw has so many contingency plans, ahead because he's so SMRT that it wouldn't be possible. I think it's a thing mentioned at the very least in the video game where, if you try to do anything smart, you can explode potentially.
Who is she again? The secretary?
The journalist.
No, she's the
Oh,
reporter.
the journalist.
That's what you get for giving Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire a 7.8 score.
Too much water.
Now
Try
it's
some
too
of
much
this
acid,
water.
though.
Twisting the truth.
No, it's pretty clear that Hoffman is spying on her just so he can get rid of her.
Yeah.
Again, he's no Jigsaw.
No, he's a serial killer. Like Jigsaw is bad. He huffs his own paint to sleep at night, but like this guy just kills to kill. He's never learned Jigsaw's lesson properly.
But I wanted to see the journalist being killed. I'm sorry, you didn't hear that.
I'm surprised no one screamed in the background, because then he'd be like, detective, what was that screaming?
I'm at a raid party.
Seems legit. Okay, thank you. Bye.
So yeah,
What a nice man.
what is Jill up to? If I recall correctly, this was the one of the initial traps of the second, no, the third movie, I think.
Yes, I believe it is the second movie.
Either second or third, I forgot which specifically. They start to blend in a bit, admittedly. Cary Elwes actually was given a test of recognize the trap from the movie, and he failed spectacularly. And yeah, as predictable, him and Amanda did not gel particularly well. It's to be fair, considering their respective egos, yeah, I can see that happening.
Just him swinging in with a shotgun. You gonna risk waking him up?
Or damaging him.
I have no comeback for that.
Dweebs, you have to give him a break, he's too riddled by cancer.
So, just because you're riddled by cancer doesn't excuse anyone evil from being evil.
Jigsaw's cultists are one big happy family.
You people are psychopaths.
Oh shit.
I'm not going anywhere. I believe it's the first of the trio to die.
Yeah,
I
well,
think she actually died before John lost his life.
but still in the same movie at the end of the third one. Yeah, it's the game from the third movie. You will also think that after, all of these games, the police will start, intensifying on every single abandoned warehouse or whatever the city in Bumfuck, USA is supposed to be, you know? Because, those are the locations that Jigsaw uses.
This one's certainly not as fast paced as the last one.
No, it takes a bit of time because while the game is technically going on, it's actually a very short game and it's more focused about Hoffman and Jill and what they were doing in previous events. It's a bit of a catch-up movie. But Jill, according to John Cena, the time is now. There you go, that was the key for the previous movie for the box.
So in terms of this film actually getting released, it had a bit of a hard time in certain territories. Like in America, the only real issue they had was the opening scene with the screws.
Mm-hmm.
So they cut it down slightly and it got the R rating. Spain was a bit more trickier. It got rated a Pellicula X rating, and only 8 adult theatres could watch it originally. To the point where, of all people, Buena Vista, that distributed the film in Spain,
So, the Disneyest
appealed,
of
cut
movies.
some. Yeah, they appealed. They cut some violent scenes out, and yeah, the film did eventually get released there the following October.
Just to mention a few things. One, that envelope that Jill actually put inside that office, we will learn about it in the next movie, specifically for who it is. Second,
John, don't.
in case you need to know, Dweebs, as much as obvious thing it is, película means film in Spanish.
Meanwhile, Trinidad and Tobago and Thailand, the film got banned over there.
Oh, Dr. Gordon, still around. I love it. Dr. Gordon is perpetually both a certain appearing in his title and the albatross around the movie franchise's neck. Wow. Yeah, I'm with Jigsaw on that. What the fuck?
No.
Well, not as philosophical. That's basically what happens with public healthcare here. Each of us pay a tax dedicated to that, so we make sure that everyone can get their coverage. Being nice to someone. I know it's such a hard thing these days. Like, don't get me wrong, Jigsaw is still a monster for what he's doing, but I would be pretty pissed too if I was in his position right now.
No, he's actually looking at Piranha.
Yeah, that still begs the question: what kind of, healthcare businessman wants to have an aquarium with piranhas in his office? It's kind of like with Martin Sheen's character in Spawn, who has like a tarantula in his office in his ashtray, or was a scorpion? I forgot.
It's very funny because in both cases, both tarantulas and piranhas are actually relatively benign. They only get to our Hollywood level hostility when they're desperate, starved, that kind of ordeal.
But again, John, this experimental treatment sounds a bit dodgy.
Sometimes dweebs, a lot of people with terminal cancer will need to try everything to survive. Yes, potentially being at a fault, but desperation. makes people do things that they normally wouldn't out of, trying to find a way out. It's
Ooh.
more understandable, even if it appears illogical. So, next test.
Bit hot in here.
Yeah, speaking of which. Let's see who Debbie's played by. Caroline Cave. Oh, she was Beverly in the 2017 Power Rangers movie. So, Jigsaw, mate,
Don't go touching hot wires, you nut job.
what is her, not appreciating life enough? It's because she's a lawyer? That was a joke from the early 90s. It's a bit passé these days. So yeah, it's the craziest maze game from Takeshi's Castle, except you die if you fail. I can definitely see this is it's structured pretty much the same way a co-op level from one of Joseph Ferry's games would be. A character has to help the other at the cost of a bit of a sacrifice, and there's definitely need of cooperation. Unrelated, but plays Split Fiction. It's a good fun.
Clever.
Relieve her.
Right,
Don't, that might be the kill her button.
Now remember, it's about to stop the steam.
Oh.
Why is there smoke coming out of your lever?
Oh no, that's steam from the beef that I had.
Steam law.
I know when the new Professor Layton game had Steam in its title, but I had no idea things were going to get this dire. Well, how would Layton actually manage to outsmart Jigsaw? Because he's the kind of guy that will do it.
The key's in him.
Yeah, classic Jigsaw trick. Surgery so that the key is implanted. It's time to do a bit of an transportation.
What people will do when faced with death. Yeah, okay, I can see what you're doing. Nice shot. Like, fuck you, guy, but nice shot.
One. Yeah, it's a bit late for that. Whee!
Down you go.
Anyway, Good going, team. First
I
time.
wasn't finished yet.
Yeah, first time in 6 movies where someone completely disregards Jigsaw tapes.
Be at work, it said.
Yeah. I swear I saw these actresses somewhere else. Let me see.
I mean, that is true. Blindly pulling crap like that, well.
Shauna McDonald. Okay. Oh no, I'm mistook it for something else. She has done a lot of TV stuff, and she was also in World of Warcraft Legion.
Before I cleaned all that up. What? Nothing.
It is very funny that between this movie and Saw 5 and this movie, just how sloppy Hoffman is.
and
It's kind of
nobody bets
embarrassing.
and nobody bets an eye. Most of it, you can tell that most of the stuff that the FBI is doing is regular procedure, but he's clearly super paranoid about it.
Yeah. It's just
I was gonna say
funny as shit
the only
because
reason that
so often it's just sitting there like, John Kramer screened you.
the only reason they haven't caught him yet is because they're even dumber than he is.
Pretty much, yeah. Again, this Count David Toulis was at least a bit more competent in the previous movie. What happened? Alright, let's open the box again.
Oh, no.
This number 6, like in the movie. It's so clever, guys.
Drives a Prius, that's why that bit was there.
Alright, time for the final test, and they saved the best for last. It's actually one of the highlights of the entire franchise, believe it or not.
Yes, the 6 dogs and the suckiest merry-go-round.
Get it? It's the 6th movie, so there are 6 people in there. I can just imagine the meme of someone writing on the pen, pen on paper while the document is on fire as they are thinking this. How do we integrate the number?
Oh yeah, this upcoming trap. Apparently the actors in this they had to take like motion sickness pills.
Yeah, I can see why. Let's just say that this ride is not stopping anytime soon.
Are they all his employees?
Yes, I guess none of them appreciated life enough, according to Jigsaw.
That game.
So you see, they're complicit, therefore they are culpable.
So he's following the logic I used in the Red Faction playthrough.
Maybe that should be a hint of you, starting to, think about what you're doing. So yeah, the deadliest merry-go-round, as Jay said, has a shotgun loaded, enough to kill all of them. And our guy can only stop, if I recall correctly, 2 times. Yeah, there you go. Only 2 people can survive. Place your bets today!
Oh, because 2/3. Okay. I didn't catch that the first time I watched the movie. It's like, what a weird arbitrary number. Just let 2 people. Oh, I guess because 2 hands, but like.
I mean, the one who should live. There's 2 of you that can live potentially.
Here we go. No, not him. Here we go. At this point, the people can literally say, I want to get off Jigsaw's wild ride.
Listen to these people.
And yeah, this is the moment where the movie tries to showcase why these people will potentially be, the this is because, similar to say Unfriended, the moment their life are in danger, they start to ratting each other out or emotionally manipulate, our guy.
But what if you just kept using that same hand to fucking press the buttons?
I guess it's a case where he cannot. Like the button registers, he has already pressed it. I don't know who these 6 people are, to be honest. I don't know if they are supposed to. Let's see. Important or not. Okay. The African American guy is Darius McCravey. Oh, goody. He was Jazz's VA in the first Bayformers movie. Also, it's done out of TV.
Is he next?
And down.
At the very
Next.
least, the black guy did not die first.
How?
Okay.
There you go. That's the other save, the meaning that the other 2 have to die. I want to know who that guy is actually played by, because I don't recognize him, but his acting is kind of, hilarious.
Honestly, when you're killing me, you look at me is the coldest line I have ever seen in the Saw franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was fucked, so. So now what?
I guess they stay there to police
How
find
the
them.
hell did they get out?
The police will get them, like the child in the third movie. And there's the last key.
Hmm.
So let's check the tape. Remember, this was the one at the beginning of the fifth movie.
Good. I got this keyboard here so I can also compose the song for when we arrest the guy.
Ah yes, by using CSI bullshit technology, we can actually reconstruct the entire original sequence.
I love she's watching him.
Detective, why are you looking so shifty?
Yeah, this is the kind of guy that Columbo will not
Really?
waste 5 minutes before ratting out. And see, it's clever. The whole right now you're feeling helpless can be applied to Hoffman right now. See, the movie's so clever, guys. Huh? Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and here we go. And that's the cue
Yeah,
for Hoffman to
the jig is
murder
up.
the entire FBI cast. No, really, discount David Tulis, gone. The other FBI agent from the fourth movie, gone.
Because she shot her.
Why are you? Why would you?
There you go, they managed to bring her back from her supposed death in the fourth movie just to kill her off like this.
What's this Blade Trinity?
You know, at the very least, I will just
Does that
say
mean I
this.
have to kill the whole FBI?
I'll just say it. Light Yagami, at the very least, slipped up only because of his ego, but otherwise would have absolutely won. You are very sloppy, Hoffman. Just saying.
You are and have always been incredibly fucking sloppy.
Need a hand.
You even brought a severed hand with you.
Specifically the one of Strohm. The last remaining of him. There you go. Gonna need to, pull up a bit the fingers via the rigor mortis.
Wait, he's holding that hand with his bare hands.
There you go. That's how he got there. He got sloppy. The fact that used the dead hand of Strong to plant the evidence. So if it wasn't even for the tape, they would have still found him. And he's doing
So
it
now what?
again. Didn't you
He's doing
learn?
it again.
Didn't you learn anything from what they told you? If it can be registered if it was a dead hand. Although to be fair, at the very least, he's burning up the office entirely. So okay, how are you still alive? You lost so much blood from your throat. There we go.
Oh fuck! I burned the only escape route.
I just need some s'mores. So yeah, here's Jill. So now Hoffman is to rush back yet again at the game to make sure he can see the conclusion.
All visitors must check in with head zoologist. I'm sure that's symbolism for something.
It was an abandoned zoo or an aquarium. They did showcase one of the hallways before. Yeah, the document that the journalist had. So yeah, everything is converging at this point.
Family.
It's about family.
You got a minute left. Oh, just in time to catch the end of my show.
One. Oh, there's one. There you go. Two. Okay.
What? What did it do?
Well, we'll find out soon enough. Oh, it might seem that Hoffman was the one that set up Amanda's killing. He was the one who gave the envelope. There you go. Yeah. Turns out that Amanda was partially responsible also of the miscarriage.
Eh?
So that's why Amanda was being uncharacteristically angry at the end of 3. It's a retcon, but makes sense. Yeah, and unfortunately Jill found it out, and now she's pretty pissed. But let's catch up back on the end of the game.
Could do with some new shoes.
What, he didn't want to stop at the 6 second? So yeah, turns out his family is the journalist. So that begs the question, who are the mother and the child? The movie has kind of cleverly tried to trick you into thinking that they're Barry's family. Yeah, they're the family of George Newborn's character. Oops. Turns out, the game was rigged for the start. So what instead
He's going to strap him to the chair to make sure he doesn't escape.
Especially because Jill has something in mind, something that was in the box. So yeah, that's kind of clever. It was never his game, but there. And for once, Jigsaw actually had people who, were not fitting his or not appreciating life enough, but instead were actually, the people involved. So their choice is just about to decide to kill him or not without anything happening to them. For once, Jigsaw twisted morality kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Was never your game.
Again, to quote New Vegas, it turns out, kiddo, the game was rigged from the start. You might have caught a glimpse beforehand of what was in the box, but now we're getting an actual reveal, outside the documents, mind you. It's the bear trap. Of course, we have spent so many movies just with people trapped in it, but never being able to see it how it actually worked to someone. So let's test it on Hoffman, shall we?
First, let's see.
The end of the game, yeah, that also has to end.
Yeah.
And the sixth envelope was him. Yeah. See, turns out Jigsaw knew from the start that Hoffman would double-cross him.
I knew from the start you'd be a really shitty Jigsaw impersonator.
What tipped you off, John?
Sudden Dark is ruining that boy.
Do it. Yeah, the kid is kind of having a Kylo Ren moment that you're about to see.
You can't.
There we go. And yeah, that's the final trap for the guy, being stabbed from behind, kind of like one of the fatalities from Sector, and then being pumped the acid into him.
Oh, lovely.
You chose to kill him. You still have to watch.
And unfortunately, Jill starts suffering from stupidity from this moment, and she just leaves him instead of actually seeing happening. Take a wild guess what's actually instead going to happen.
He's going to find his way out and then bam his face into the grates on the door.
Well, he has a key in his pocket.
Or he's just happy to see her. No, that's not how it works.
So the message of this movie is that
Fucking
health
insurance
insurance
companies.
executives are the ultimate evil people.
Again, Dweebs, I can't imagine how these will be topical.
I mean, it's just as well. This message doesn't really make that much sense here in the UK. I mean, we do have private healthcare, but that's like a second option.
Pretty much. Wow.
Ugh. And I just had a steak pie for my tea tonight.
Lovely. See, this was Hoffman's test all over again.
I'm just glad I didn't have spaghetti.
Alright, clock's ticking, Hoffman. Also, very rapid montage again with the sequences from all movies so far.
And hey, I guess the technology's changed a bit. He's got a digital timer.
4, 3, 2. There we go.
Oh, okay, that's
One way.
That's pretty
It's
clever.
honestly a genius counter to the stupid trap.
He still will have to. Yeah. He's still a bit injured, but at least he's alive. And that's how it ends, by the way. Hoffman still survives despite everything. Motherfucker is like a cockroach, cannot die. Jill thinks she has had her vengeance, and that game is over with the insurance company dead. I think the journalist did survive, but I don't think she returns for the following movies. Maybe she's mentioned, I don't remember. But otherwise, yeah, that's it for the sixth movie. It's a bit still sudden the way it ends, but to be fair, so did movie 5, you know.
So, it really works, huh, Jigsaw?
Again, much like Todd Howard says, it just works. Alright, final thoughts?
So what have you learned today? Health insurance executives are worse than Satan. The FBI are really stupid.
And slash or fully corrupt.
Yeah, or both.
Mm-hmm.
Don't work for health insurance companies or else you're complicit as well. You could just be the janitor and still be evil.
Just because you're smoking. Also, don't do the Bond villain stupidity and make sure that whatever trapping is actually happening goes full through. That is basically Jill's fatal mistake.
Yeah, so and honestly, that's what kind of lets this film down, in my opinion. The sheer number of people in the movie being really stupid.
Trust me, Dweebs, it will get worse in the next one.
Well, it depends. What's worse, 3D, Jigsaw, or Spiral?
Still Spiral. Again,
Spiral.
different shades of bad Dweebs, but Spiral case is particular because it betrays arguably the entire franchise.
Kind of ironic, Spiral winds up being the only real copycat crime to the Jigsaw killings, even though in one of the movies there was a copycat crime, which is how Hoffman got caught on that.
But yeah, the stupidity of quite a few of the cast, honestly, kind of it does bring the side down a bit. Because I do think because the actual effects for the deaths are better than the ones in the last movie. And the acting performances are the most solid I've seen in this series.
I think Jill is still dull. Let me check again her actress in the meantime. Go on.
And I'll give Kevin this. He's in terms of like his directing skills as well as his editing skills. Because I think he's still an editor on the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Having you can tell having worked for the series for years, he knows all the ins and outs of how these films are meant to work. So he does that well enough.
Well, did you enjoy at least the creativity of the traps?
Yeah, especially the roundabout trap
Merry-go-round.
and
Mm-hmm.
the merry-go-round one, and the last guy probably being the most hard when faced with his death. Like he knows he's fucked, so he just uses it to spit out his last bit of venom against practically his killer. But aside from that, I think this is more of a slightly above average film in the series, in my opinion. Which, considering what you guys have told me about the next 3 movies, kind of
Yeah,
scares me.
the rough times are about to happen. Also, if I recall correctly, Betsy Russell, Jill's actress, one of the major reasons she was in the movie is because she was actually dating one of the producers back then. Classic case. Oh well. Alright, Jay, you're next.
I thought 5 was convoluted in the story. I'll say this: for as much exhaustion as I have for this movie, it's got one of the best and coldest lines. And I do agree that the acting is really, really good. But this is, again, it's just one of those where the story is kind of all over the place, and some scenes just do not make sense. They know who the Jigsaw Killer really is, but they just let him into the establishment where they try and catch him, just to be dramatic over it. The law firm being the target made a lot of sense, and honestly, it's the first time I'm actually like, you know what? I think I'm kind of on Jigsaw's side for this one. Not by much, obviously, but like, this is pretty cathartic. But cathartic is the best that it gets. Once again, I will give credit to whoever wrote that cold ass line, but you're not getting much more praise from me than that. Hopefully, in the next movie where everything just falls apart, it'll at the very least be fun to watch the crashing and burning.
We shall see. For now, my final thoughts. Again, I still appreciate this movie at the end of the day, but it's a bit of a step down compared to 5. As also Dweebs noted, it's a bit more of a slow burn, because it needs to play catch up with a lot of things that Jill and Hoffman were doing in the previous movies. And to be fair, I get that. We're basically at a point in the franchise where it is the bread and butter, basically this soap opera-esque type of tying things together in the most stupidest way possible. I'm all for it. It's the kind of reason why I can eat this franchise up for breakfast. Just keep shitting these kind of particular movies, no matter how cheesy they are, and I will eat it up. It's one of the reasons why I think Spiral is even worse, because again, it's to make a full analogy, apologies. It's kind of like for breakfast, sleeping me instead of moldy sandwich. I did not ask for that. But back to this movie. Also, again, just to mention, I have to say, unfortunately, Jill's actress, Betsy Russell, really, really is not at their hay game. But her role in the story is fine. It's just that the acting is not that optimal. I like the trappings, again. I like the twist at the end, because they play it up as your typical, tugging at your heartstring about the average American father who has a woman and child, and is very caring about them. So that's why you need to survive, only to twist around and tell you that no, they were different people and his real family was someone else. Again, I don't remember what happens to the journalist. Maybe this is mentioned in the next movie, maybe not. We'll have to see. So at the end of the day, it's fine. Nothing too spectacular, and I still prefer 5, but it still was very enjoyable to dissect at the end of the day. Not as much as can be said for the next couple of movies, because, like as I said, this one grossed, not as much as the previous ones. So Lionsgate had a bit of a panic compared to also the Paranormal Activity movies that were about to release. So they banked on one final movie for the year after in 2010 to see if it would, work out their gamble. Tune in next time for Saw the Final Chapter, or more colloquially referred to as Saw 3D. See you for that.
I've heard that if you're stuck in these death traps often enough, you got a free Sunday.